End this call. Now, Officer Ricard barked, his voice sharp against the crisp Willow Creek air. His gun was already drawn, aimed straight at Naomi's face. Naomi froze, groceries in hand, phone wedged between shoulder and ear. One bag slipped, apples scattered, a can clanked against her sneaker. "What did I do?" she whispered, lifting her hand slowly. "You know what you did." Ricard snapped, veins bulging on his bald forehead. His finger twitched near the trigger, his posture taut like a coiled spring. "I work nearby. I was just buying groceries," Naomi stammered, her voice controlled despite the tremble. Ricard stormed forward, slammed her against his hot patrol car, and cuffed her wrists with force. "Robbery suspect. Pharmacy. 6 blocks away. That you?" "No," Naomi gasped. "I have a receipt. Check the cameras." He ignored her. The crowd that had begun gathering was shoved away with a loud, "Move along." Inside the patrol car, Naomi's heart pounded. Her phone lay abandoned on the pavement until an elderly woman picked it up and instinctively redialed the last number. Naomi stared blankly out the window, her face burning with humiliation. Outside, Ricard returned, holding a wrinkled receipt in one hand, stomping triumphantly. "Ladies and gents, the clever little thief caught red-handed." He rattled her cuffs. "Thought those college degrees and sweet talk would fool me, huh?" He laughed bitterly. "It's always the same. I'm innocent. I'm a professional. Right? Until they get caught." Naomi said nothing, but she saw the woman, her phone pressed to her ear, her face tight with concern. "Yes," the woman said into the phone. "She said she's your wife. She's inside the patrol car. I think something's very wrong here." A silence, then a calm but deadly voice. "What does the officer look like?" "White. Bald. Angry. He's yelling, it's bad. I'm on my way." Back in the parking lot, Ricard was still performing for the growing crowd. "What's next?" he mocked. "She gonna say it's racism? 'Cause I bet that's coming." "Right, officer? That's what they all say." Naomi sat silently, jaw clenched, watching him rant. Her phone call had been cut short. But maybe, just maybe, that woman had gotten through. The woman stepped forward. "Officer," she said, voice shaking, "I think you're making a mistake." Ricard whipped around. "Do you know her?" "No, but I saw her come out with groceries." "You didn't even ask her anything." "Step back. Don't interfere with a police matter." A moment later, the shriek of tires sliced through the air. A sleek black SUV skidded to a stop in front of the patrol car. Its door flung open. Out stepped a tall man in a dark suit, no tie, polished boots hitting pavement with authority. The crowd hushed. Ricard turned. Something in his stance wavered. The man walked with slow, terrifying purpose. Ricard straightened up. "Sir, step away from the vehicle." Before he could finish, the man seized Ricard by the collar and slammed him against the hood. The officer yelped, his voice cracking with fear. "What the hell are you doing to my wife?" the man growled. Gasps rippled through the onlookers. Phones came out. Someone whispered, "Is that her husband?" Ricard struggled. "Let go. You're assaulting an officer." "Assaulting." The man's voice was a low thunder. "You cuffed her in public, screamed at her, humiliated her, without cause. No ID check. No due process. Why? Because she's black. She fit the description." "Of what? A black woman?" "That's it." The man tightened his grip. "That's all it takes for you to draw a gun?" Inside the cruiser, Naomi's heart surged. The fear was shifting. Finally, not hers to carry alone, that Ricard's radio crackled in his hand. He reached for it, but the man slammed his wrist against the car, pinning him. "No backup," he said coldly. "Not until you answer for what you did." Ricard whimpered, struggling beneath the weight of the man's stare. His authority drained from him. The badge on his chest seemed suddenly meaningless. "You think you see through people," the man continued. "You don't even see the human being in front of you." From the crowd, someone shouted, "Let her go." Another murmured, "She didn't do anything." And then, over the buzz of murmurs and tension, Ricard's voice cracked one last time. "You'll regret this. You don't know who you're dealing with." The man leaned in close, his voice almost a whisper. "Oh, but you don't know who I am." Then, sirens in the distance. Blue lights flickering at the edge of the street. The man turned his head slowly. Naomi lifted her face from the window. Everything stopped. Call whoever you want, the man said, his voice calm, composed, and terrifying. Officer Ricard stumbled back, panting, his collar twisted, sweat glistening on his forehead. But as he got a better look at the man in front of him, the posture, the confidence, the watch, the tailored suit, realization struck. You're Mr. Sterling, he stammered. Marcus Sterling stared at him coldly. I don't care if you know my name. What matters is what you did, and how you'll answer for it. You didn't just cuff my wife. You degraded her, in public without cause. You made her feel less than human. And for that, you'll pay. In court. On record. For the world to see. Ricard was trembling now, not with authority, but fear. Marcus stepped to the patrol car and removed a sleek black card from his wallet. One tap against the lock, and the door popped open with a soft click. Ricard blinked. How did you? Marcus ignored him. He opened the door gently. Naomi. She stepped out slowly, her wrists still bound, her eyes wide. Marcus pulled her into a strong, protective embrace. I'm here. You're safe now, he whispered. For the first time, Naomi let her walls drop. Her body shook in his arms, and she pressed her face to his chest. I was so scared, she breathed. I know, but it's over. He'll never get near you again. Marcus turned to Ricard. Take the cuffs off. Ricard hesitated. Marcus didn't raise his voice, but the steel in his tone made it clear. This wasn't a request. Fumbling with the key, Ricard unlocked the cuffs. They clattered to the ground. Marcus picked them up and handed them back. You'll need these for yourself. Ricard didn't respond. His face had gone pale. He stepped back toward his car, no longer a cop in control, just a man facing consequences. From the crowd, the older woman who had made the call stepped forward, her hands still trembling. I saw everything, she said quietly. I couldn't stand by and do nothing. Naomi turned to her. You saved me. If you hadn't spoken up, the woman smiled gently. I just did what I hoped someone would do for my daughter. Marcus nodded. You did more than that. You reminded everyone watching what courage looks like. He handed her a gold embossed card. If you ever need anything at all, call me. Her eyes widened as she read the name. Sterling. Marcus Sterling? The attorney? I fight for people who've been silenced, he said simply. The woman blinked back tears. Then fight for all of us. We need more of you. Naomi hugged her tightly, and the woman whispered, You're stronger than you know. By now, more patrol cars had arrived, but not for Naomi. Internal Affairs officers approached the scene with clipboards and cameras. Ricard was pulled aside without resistance. His radio and badge were taken. It was clear. He was done. Marcus took Naomi's hand. Let's go home. Naomi stood tall. The humiliation she endured hadn't broken her. It had revealed her strength. She walked beside her husband with pride. As they approached their SUV, people stepped aside with silent respect. A few applauded quietly. Others whispered Naomi's name. Before getting in, Marcus turned to the crowd. Don't let silence protect injustice. Today, one voice changed everything. They drove off, leaving behind flashing lights and whispered stories. News crews were already pulling in. Phones buzzed. The video clips had gone viral. Back at home, Naomi stood in the hallway, finally alone with herself. Her reflection in the mirror showed someone tired but undefeated. Marcus walked up behind her. You okay? I will be, she said. Because you showed up. Because someone stood up for me, for what's right. He wrapped his arms around her waist. You don't ever have to go through that alone again. They stood in silence, forehead to forehead. Later that evening, on a local broadcast, the story broke. Attorney Marcus Sterling confronts police officer over false arrest of black woman outside grocery store. Video goes viral. Officer suspended pending investigation. At the precinct, Officer Ricard sat in silence. No badge, no radio, just the weight of his own actions closing in. A knock came at the door. An agent stepped in. You're being formally investigated for misconduct, excessive force, and racial profiling. You'll be escorted off the premises. Ricard's eyes fell. There was nothing left to say. Back at home, Naomi sat beside Marcus on the couch, curled under a blanket. She reached for his hand. You made me feel safe, she said again, softly. Marcus looked at her, eyes full of love and quiet resolve. And you always will be, no matter what. Outside, the world kept turning. But something had changed. A line had been drawn. A woman had stood tall. A man had stood beside her. And a broken system had felt, for once, the sting of accountability.